it's no surprise that once you become more visible in the big, bad, big, wide world of the internet, you become like fresh meat to the trolls and haters that are there in the world, especially as a woman and especially as a woman of color. Now, I'm no stranger to this. I have been trolled, victimized, bullied, harassed, and really targeted at by trolls many, many times in my life. And I'm no stranger to these experiences myself. But a very recent one that happened to me last year that almost destroyed everything that I'm building on this channel and my brand. And it led me questioning my credentials as a coach, particularly in the English as a second language space. And I'm sure people who are learning English as a second language or have this English as a second language may experience the same problem that I did from time to time with their belief system and mindset. So hopefully my story and my experience will resonate with some of you, and you'll be able to get out not only some value out of this, but I'll also be busting some myths about English speakers in the second language space, and also what native English speakers are, and most importantly, is your accent going to be a factor that limits you from becoming a good communicator? So stay tuned for the rest of this video. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. For the people who don't know me, my name is Shweta. I am the founder of Healthy Dynamics. We are a coaching practice that helps healthcare professionals from non-English speaking backgrounds improve their language as well as communication skills in order to build better relationships with their patients that is based on trust and credibility, and really stand out as a person of excellence in their workplace, while at the same time be able to integrate with communities all across the world if they choose to live as expatriates. So my coaching really encompasses all these different factors, the main umbrella being communication. So a quick little disclaimer before we go into the rest of the video. Now, this video is not really to throw anyone under the bus. That's not the purpose of the video. And I'm not shooting this video to gain sympathy or any sort of validation. I don't want people to feel sorry for me. And I also take full responsibility for what happened in this particular incident. And I take full responsibility and am holding myself accountable. So the whole purpose of this video is really to share my story of something that happened last year that you, as learners of the English language, English as a second language, may have also experienced from time to time, that may have led to you questioning about your ability, your credentials, and whether you will ever do well in this space. So let's get into the story that actually happened last year. So I actually quite often look at other YouTube content creators, and there was one particular male, it was a male, who he had about 60,000 odd followers, and he's made about 7,000 videos. So he is pretty popular, and he posts videos every single day. Now, when I saw his content, a lot of it really resonated with things that I not only post about, but also believe in. So I sort of went down a big rabbit hole and went on and on about seeing what his channel was all about, what kind of videos we're posting. They started off well, but eventually it led me to a very dark place, because he started to post about things that completely violate me as a person and also my principles, which are really integrity, transparency, authenticity, and being completely honest and candid. So, and also another thing that I absolutely cannot stand, especially from a male, is men who are misogynistic, men who are sexist, and this guy ticked all those boxes. So yeah, as I saw more and more of his videos, I saw videos of him not only putting down women like me in particular, who have made less conventional life choices, like not to have kids, not to sort of earn my own money, for example, be financially independent. And he does not find those qualities endearing in a woman. So he's one of those men who's like, women belong to the kitchen, women's job is to have tons of babies and just serve and take care of men. And most of his videos were about how modern day feminists and modern day women are just completely horrible for not doing that. And it's not just one video, many videos were about this. And the other thing that really upset me with this content was he would actually say really bad things about the clients that he was working with. So he had no problem taking his clients' money in order to give them his services. But at the same time, he would go behind their back and make videos about how horrible they are. He wouldn't mention their names, but he would definitely say why this client, and use very, very derogatory words about his clients. I got really upset to the point that I got infuriated and angry. It takes a lot for me to get to that point, and this guy really, really upset me. And on his videos and on his social media channels, he actually has his number listed. So I did not control myself. I sent him a voice message on WhatsApp and just calling him out on, and really holding him accountable that, you know, he is being a fraud. He's, you know, taking people's money and not giving them the result that they want. He's bad-mouthing women who are now having so many more choices with what they want to do with their lives. And also how he treats women in his life in general. And the worst thing was how he talks so much bad, you know, ill will, has so much ill will against his own clients, the ones that he works with, the ones that he mentors, the ones that he takes money from. So I will take hand on heart, I will take full responsibility in saying I said some pretty nasty, ugly words to him because I was that upset. It takes a lot for me to get to that point, as I said. This guy, then what he goes to do is make an entire video on his YouTube channel about me. And so again, he's done the same thing. He's badmouthed me. He has gone and said all the horrible things about me and he makes fun of my appearance. He makes fun of my accent. He sends that video, that voice clip that I sent to him, to his client base, his WhatsApp community. And I get trolled by all of them, not just him, all of them on my videos that I've posted on my channel. So these are just some of the screenshots of the things that I was told, or I was trolled on by his clients and his cult members, if you want to put it that way. Unsurprisingly, it left me very, very upset because obviously these guys, when they have no leg to stand on, and a lot of trolls are very, they're very good at doing this. So when they don't have a leg to stand on, when they know that they're in the wrong, and when someone like myself or anybody, but especially a woman, holds them accountable, they will pick on two things, either their appearance or the way that they talk or the way that they're dressed. Just very superficial, anything that's external, not really about what I'm saying, but just everything that has nothing to do with what I'm saying. So as you can see, these guys obviously, because they started to have a go at me about my accent, that, you know, how can I have this type of accent, call myself Australian, and really be teaching English as a second language? So they really started to question my credentials and really insult me in the most humiliating sort of ways. And it got me thinking about how you probably, as speakers of English as a second language, also probably experience this, not necessarily trolling, but questioning really about, am I really good enough to achieve that level of fluency as a healthcare professional or as a speaker of the English language? Is my accent really going to stop me from being the best I can in mastering this language? Is my appearance really going to be getting in the way as in becoming an effective communicator and really standing out in the workplace? So this actually led me to really highlighting some of the myths that people really have about, you know, English as a second language, native English speakers, accents, appearances, and I came up with 4 big myths that I wanted to completely dispel. Now, before I get into that, if you're enjoying this type of content and getting some value out of it, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell to be notified when the next video is coming up. And also please hit the like button if you find this video valuable, because that way the algorithm gods will be happy and distribute it to the right people who need it the most. Okay, myth number 1. Native English speakers are always fluent. Load of bullshit. I do not mind really telling it like it is and saying it like it is. Native English speakers are not necessarily fluent. Now, fluency is a big, big word, and fluency really encompasses a lot of things. You have to be good at your pronunciation. You have to be good at elocution, dictation, spelling, grammar, vocabulary, comprehension. It's a huge, huge thing. Now, just because someone is a native English speaker, that means that they have come from, they have a citizenship of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, USA, whatever. That does not necessarily mean that they are fluent. I will give you an example. My partner, love him to death, but he is white Australian. He is technically a native English speaker, but his grammar and spelling is atrocious. And I don't tell him this a lot of the time because, it doesn't affect me or our relationship. But when we are not together, when we are, say I'm traveling or he's doing his own thing, or if he sends me text messages, you can actually see the constant spelling and grammar errors that he makes. And this is not because he is dumb or stupid or anything like that. His knowledge of literacy is not that good. So, his skills are not that well developed. Whereas if you look at someone like me, my appearance, I certainly don't look like a native English speaker because that will lead me to my second point, which I'll get into. So I by no means look like a native English speaker, but I can bet my bottom dollar that my grammar, spelling, comprehension is far more superior than any typical traditional native English speaker. The reason for that is because I grew up in a family where we spoke English regularly. My parents are extremely fluent at English. They speak English they spoke and still speak English all the time. They read voraciously, and that also led me to becoming a voracious reader. I'm just going to show you a little clip of my bookshelf, which is just a little smidgen of it. And the rest of it is actually on my Kindle. So I am a voracious reader. I have always been. I read a book every couple of weeks. And I'm also happy to leave my Goodreads profile. If anyone wants to check out that link, you can actually see what books I read. But having that baseline knowledge, having that exposure to the English language, using it every day, building my vocabulary, these are the things that made me much, much more competent as a learner of the English language. And I'm really mastering the rudiments of grammar, spelling, comprehension, and vocabulary. When I was in the school system, I saw English teachers, people who taught English literature, English writing and reading and all those things, really make so many spelling and grammar mistakes. These were all, again, people who were born and raised in Australia, who were, Caucasian background, whatever else, but they made the same mistake in spelling and grammar. So just because someone is native English speaker by birth or default doesn't mean that they're necessarily fluent. That's myth number one. Myth number two, you have to look a certain way in order to be considered a native speaker. Now, this resonates particularly well with me because I used to teach in Thailand once upon a time, and I taught in the school system there. And a lot of the times people really hesitated to give me jobs because in their mind, I don't look like a native English speaker. And they did not believe me when I told them that I am from Australia. Even though I have a passport of the country, even though I'm a citizen of the country, they did not believe the fact that I'm Australian because I don't look the part. For them, an Australian, an American, a New Zealander, a Canadian, an Irish person, they all have to be fair-skinned, white-skinned, blonde hair, blue eyes, etc., etc. So appearance seemed to be a big deal for them. And for me personally, it took me a long time. Only when I left Thailand and started teaching English online was when people started to really take me seriously. That they saw that, okay, I can call myself a person from Australia. And those students, whoever I met online, they never questioned me. They always thought that, yes, I'm Australian. I have every reason to be Australian. But I had this problem when I was trying to find teaching jobs in Thailand. So you don't have to necessarily look a certain way in order to be considered a fluent English speaker or a native speaker. Now, there are so many celebrities I can think of. So say, for example, Rafael Nadal or Shakira or who's that big model that I can't really think of what the model's name is. But there are so many celebrities who have somewhat, they don't look the part, obviously. They don't look like a proper native English speaker, but they all speak English really, really well. They may have had training on it. They may have had someone to coach them on it. But they understand the language really well and they speak it really well. So even though they don't fit into the physical stereotype of the blonde hair and blue eyes and everything else, they are still very much English speakers. And whether they are native or whether it's a second language, they still do a good job of speaking it. So you don't have to look a certain way in order to be good at English. Number two. Number three, having an unpopular accent is going to make me a bad communicator. Now, A lot of people cannot deny the fact that there are a lot of accents in this world that are very, very exotic and beautiful to listen to. For example, the Spanish accent, the Latin American accent, the French accent, the Italian accent. There are people, celebrities included, who speak in all these accents and they speak fluent English, and people, besides the fact that they're celebrities, they still find them attractive.
I wasn't loving New York City. I mean, it's the people. It's the energy. It's, I think that you have more options with men also.
Doing it for 22 years, but it seems that I've been doing it for more than that, and it's something that I wake up in the morning and think about. Everybody's used the word passion, but it is really my passion. You know what I like about the book?
I feel most beautiful when I'm comfortable and surrounded by people that make me feel very comfortable about myself. I'm someone who's very sensitive to energies, and it can really make me, I'm very transparent, so it can really wind me up.
Now, accent is a thing that really holds people back from really practicing their English skills, and that really breaks my heart because they feel that my accent is going to be a problem because people are not used to it, people don't understand it. And as you can see, these jerks who actually trolled me, the first thing they picked up on one was, how can she call herself Australian, even though she has this type of accent which is not Australian enough or not native English speaking enough. So, but when I did actually teach or started teaching online, yes, people found it hard to believe that I was Australian, but they actually appreciated the fact that I don't have a typical Australian accent because they struggled to understand people who were of Scottish background, from Irish background, and even like the Australian and the Kiwi accent, they had a lot of problem understanding it. Whereas they found my accent easy to understand. So they always used to tell me that my accent is a combination of British and South African. I've lived in England for a certain amount of time, couple of years, but I've never been to South Africa. So I don't know where that came from. But the point being that as long as you are saying your words clearly, concisely, and in a way that's easy to understand and be perceived by other people, that's all you need. You don't necessarily have to change your accent upside down. When I coach my clients, I certainly don't tell them to change their accent. In fact, I do the opposite. I tell them to express themselves authentically from their zone of genius and what they're good at and things like that. And so for them, I make sure that they use that as a strength, not something that's going to hold them back. So if you have a certain accent, don't let that be a factor that gets you into a complex thinking that you're never going to do well. So if you have an accent, really use it to your advantage and improve on it by all means, but also make it you sort of polish it and refine it and fine tune it so that it becomes clearer, the pronunciation, the diction, how you say different words, how you enunciate different words. That's the main thing that you have to work on. Some of these coaches, and no offense to them, some of them, they want you to reduce your accent, and I'm the exact opposite. I want you to actually embrace it wholeheartedly and really use that as your superpower, really. So that's number 3. And number 4, and last but not least, my accent is going to be my downfall in becoming a fluent English speaker, which sort of ties really well with the last point that I made, that just because your accent is a certain way, it doesn't mean that you are going to be terrible at speaking in English. That the two factors have absolutely nothing to do with each other. Because as I said, as long as you are pronouncing and saying the words clearly, you're using your accent as a way of communicating in an effective way, in a powerful way, in an authentic way, and in an expressive manner. That's really all you need. And as long as people can understand what you are saying, and if they don't, if they're asking for clarification and you still explain it, that's all that matters. At the end of the day, that is really all that matters. So do not ever think that your accent is going to be your downfall or an enemy or something that you need to squash completely. Another big thing is that language fluency and communication, this might be a 5th bit that I should have added to the list, but I'll mention it now anyway. So language fluency and communication are two completely different things. So you can be extremely fluent at a language. You may know your grammar well, your vocabulary well, your comprehension well. That's absolutely fine. But if you don't understand the nuances and rudiments of what communication is, which is a much, much broader and bigger concept, it doesn't really mean anything. So my coaching really integrates both doing well in the language, absolutely, but also how to become a good communicator and using language as one of many tools and resources in order to do better and communicate more effectively. So these were the 5 minutes that I just wanted to completely dispel and get you to a better place of understanding that, okay, I'm aware that English is not my first language. I'm working towards improving it, but I also have to take ownership of the fact that these, my strength is my this, and this. My accent may be different, but it actually gives me an advantage over other people. And I wanted to share my story because I know, because of that incident that I just told you about, it made me feel very dejected after a certain point. And this video was, long overdue. But I felt that this would hopefully give you a little bit more of a boost and also build your confidence a little bit more and give you a little bit more of a pep talk and guidance about the fact that not only the fact that don't let anyone sort of bully you or abuse you or troll you about how you look like and what your accent is and all that, but also the fact that your uniqueness is really it's not your weakness, it's your biggest strength, and it's really going to set you apart from the rest of the world in being exactly who you are, your unique, individual, special self. So, I hope this video was not very much of a woo-woo, and I wanted to do something a little bit different apart from my usual tutorial videos, which I will get back to next week anyway. And hope you enjoyed this. Hope you found this a little bit different and a little bit valuable. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you find such videos useful so that you're updated on what the content that I'm posting is all about. And also please hit the like button if you are happy with what you saw. And please share in the comment section below. Have you ever been questioned for your accent? Have you ever been criticized for your accent or your appearance, and how did that make you feel, and how did you overcome that? So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And thank you very much for your time, presence, and attention, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much.